Welcome to the Ali Show. You're gonna have to forgive some of us here. We don't podcast as much, so this is our first time. But we're gonna proceed to tell you who we are, what we do, what Bectran does, as well as what's the purpose of this podcast. So I'm Ali. I'm the senior manager for product and implementation. So I've been at the company 6 years now. So I lead our entire product strategy and growth. Then I also oversee our partnerships and integrations, as well as overseeing our enterprise implementation. So my job involves, talking a lot with customers, understanding their problems, and then building a solution for it. I've been at the company 6 years. In that time, I've done a variety of different types of implementations for customers in different industries. All the way from construction to food, media, materials, marijuana, packaging, what have you. We at Bectran, we're a SaaS platform for B2B credit. We basically serve the entire order-to-cash industry. So anything from the initial credit onboarding all the way up to the cash application, including items like payments, collections, disputes, order holds, the whole gamut. So as you can imagine, anybody in my position would have seen quite a bit of customer problems throughout this journey. That's the entire idea of this podcast. We're going to run you through and talk about the challenges that every credit and AR department has. We feel that the market does not actually put emphasis or have enough material about the real world challenges that the end user is facing, whether that be on the field, at the branch, or in the credit department itself, how to optimize your processes, what kind of policies to put in place, how to automate your work streams. That's what we're going to talk about, and we hope that the knowledge and the discussions that we have here on this podcast can help credit departments, be a better version of themselves, and that's the idea. We'll have guests here from time to time. Today we have Dominic. Dominic, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, so I'm Dominic Biegel, Director of Sales at Bectran. I'm the first guest of the Ali Show, maybe the last guest. We'll see how well this show does. But I've been here for nearly 10 years. Seen the company go through a lot of different growth, both in terms of employees and product. So my responsibilities, obviously sales, but I manage the team here at Bectran, and also work with a lot of our enterprise opportunities for sales.
Thanks, Dominic. He's not going to be the last one. We're gonna have a lot of guests.
We'll see.
We have ideas. I mean, since this is the first time, I guess to give you a sense of the podcast, our idea is to take topics every week. Topics that we've worked on. So anything that we talk about here, we will have first-hand knowledge of, either through implementation or through actually building the product itself. So today we're going to talk about order holds, but we're going to get to it in a bit. We got to get you a sense of what this podcast is going to be about. What we also hope to do is bring some of our customers, our partners, as well as the vendors that we work with. So as you imagine, the position that we're in, we work with, obviously, on top of customers, we work a lot with third parties. These may be companies that our customers may use, like bureau agencies or, lien service providers or, fraud checking tools. We hope to bring them on the podcast as well to give their perspective, as well as other industry experts, whoever we feel, may provide a good perspective, for you, the end user to make better credit and AR decisions. So today's topic is going to be order holds. That's a solution that Dominic and I have worked on personally. We want to sort of walk you through how it came to be, how we came up with the idea and the execution of it, as well as how it's being used today. So I'm going to give it to Dominic, who's going to talk about, how it came to be actually. Dominic?
Yes, thanks, Ali. Very, very interesting story. So take it back to early 2020, few weeks. This was like end of February, right before COVID, really took over. everything and shut down a lot of businesses. So we were at an on-site meeting with a potential customer, which was a Fortune 500 company in construction, and we demoed our products, the various offerings that we had at the time, and everything went well. We were excited. Ali had a broken button on his jacket that
Very expensive jacket.
might have derailed the presentation a bit. But other than that, we came back to the office. All things went well, and when we got back, we did another demo more on the AR offerings, and it came up that this potential customer needed something on the order release process, which we didn't have. So it was kind of a abrupt end to the call, kind of a deal breaker, which basically ended our chances of landing the account at the time. But with the delays of COVID, the customer didn't end up signing with the other company that they were looking at because everything got shut down. People weren't making decisions. So during that period, Ali and I were able to get together with the development team and our upper level development individuals to be able to really articulate the needs of the customer around this product and build out the product. And Ali was a little bit more involved in that than me. But what ended up happening, we ended up getting in contact with this customer towards the end of the year. It was actually on New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve 2020, and we were told that, hey, we're still in play. We're glad that you have this product now after we ended up building it, and let's get in touch in the new year. After that, a few months later, we ended up, closing the business with the order hold module, and they were going to be our first customer to use the module. So you can go into more on how we actually developed the product and the intricacies.
Yeah. So at the time we didn't really have any customers using or had a need for the order hold process as it relates to credit. So just to take a step back and explain it to everybody of what the order hold process means. So in a B2B credit environment, order holds are very common. It's basically enforcing the credit limit on the customer, meaning that they cannot order more than their credit limit is. So if their credit limit is 10,000 and their balance of exposure is 9,000, the max they can place orders for is 1,000. But there are exceptions, right? Maybe this customer pays you well. Maybe they're due for a credit limit increase, or there may be any variety of factors that's not sort of captured in that simple math that I just told you. Customer relationship, right? Size of the customer, what have you. Companies struggle with that, right? So they have customers walking in at the branch, placing orders go on hold. They can't walk out of the door with the product, right? It directly impacts sales, right? What you also want to do is you don't want to punish your customers for things that may, you don't want to punish your customers for things that may get resolved in time, or for things that are just part of the process, right? I'll take a very easy example. Let's say a customer is past due $10 for 120 days, but everything else is current and they pay all of their bills well, and there's some accounting issue or some other problem for which they're $10 past due. This is $1 million customer. Are you going to hold them back for $10? Probably not. But companies, they don't have extended logic today to account for this, or a variety of other items. So
mostly what we've seen with the ERPs is that the ERPs will have some type of very low level check. Are they above the credit limit, and not much else? So our issue, and then the problem we were looking to solve, was how to take customers that are going over their credit limit, for reasons Ali mentioned, that you wouldn't necessarily want to put them on hold, and how to be able to do that at a risk level that's optimum for our customers, where these ERPs, very basic, there's not much they can do on an automated process. Where with us, if every order that went on hold had to be touched manually, our goal is to get as many orders as possible that are approved automated by the system without an actual credit team member getting involved, but to keep the risk level at an optimum level at the same time.
Yes. So how do you solve for that? So there's a few key items that need to be addressed for building a solution like this. So number one, which is the most important, is speed. So order releases need to be as real time as possible. The problem that you ultimately end up solving for, which is 90% of the use cases, are the customer standing at the branch problem, which means that the customer walks in, they place an order. These checks need to happen, in a fast enough time so that the branch person does not have to make small talk with the customer. You don't want your people just waiting or your customers waiting, right? Like the customer's not going to wait for a long time there. They're expecting to walk out of the door with the product. So that this thing needs to be as quick as possible. So that's one area. We obviously use some machine learning algorithms to accomplish that, which I'll talk about in a bit. The other item is the ability to use the most updated information on the customer account to make the best decision possible. So there's a variety of triggers that a company may look to check before releasing an order. So a couple of examples of that are checking how past due they are. So what the percentage of past due is. Has the percentage past due trended well over time or worse over time? Or sort of like the example I had before, are they past due for a really insignificant amount, like $10? Do you really want to hold the customer back for that? When was a couple other things you want to check? How many years they've been in business with us? So if this customer's been in business with you a long time, you obviously want to give them benefit of the doubt a little bit for that relationship. When was the last time they made a payment? How much of that payment reduced their past dues? Kind of gives you an idea of how active they are. You also may want to set up different criteria for different geographical regions or different product lines of your company. So, for example, the risk level that you take in Los Angeles it may be different than the risk level that you take in New York. I'm just taking an example, but the same thing could be true for, let's say you have a plumbing side of the business and you have a waterproofing side of the business. Maybe you check risk levels differently there, just because of the product. So what I just told you, that's just a subset of the checks that our customers employ. But the idea is all of those checks need to happen. One, in a fast enough fashion so that the customer is not waiting. Two, they also need to happen with the most updated data available. So that's extremely important. And three, which we've been able to give to our customers, is the self-service aspect of it. So as you can imagine, all the items that I just told you, these are not items that we magically we woke up one day and we came up with it. Like, this is from real customer feedback. So our customers, they come to us with problems. They tell us, hey, we would like to employ this into our order hold release process, or we'd like to add this to the model. So these are all things that we've added over time. But the idea is that the customer should be able to configure and deploy these models themselves without having to reach out to us or their IT team, right? Because this is a part of their business. All they're trying to do is automate the process for order holds, as well as set up different types of models to achieve the highest amount of or the highest rate of order releases possible. Obviously to what Dominic says, in a way that accurately addresses their risk.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things Ali just mentioned is the ability for the customer to configure them themselves. Like, I can't every week, almost every day, we're on a call when we're talking about not just order holds, but any system that a customer may use today. One of the biggest pain points we hear is the limited ability to manage that system themselves. Where they have to. I just had a guy tell me today he was using a system where they needed to add the phone number onto a page in that system, and it cost money, and they needed an SOW to do it. So those are some of the keys with this order hold model, as well as other solutions that we offer, is that customers can tweak these models, configure them themselves over time. They're easy enough to train an admin at that company to be able to handle it themselves, and you don't have to have a degree in Bectran to do it. And it's customer facing, and you can do it as you go. And typically what we see is these models increase in complexity, as they get more comfortable with the system, where, we might have some checks that are, a little bit more robust, than the ERP system in phase one. But as time goes on, you can have several layers of water flowing order release models that take into consideration everything from how long the customer has been in business to the exact amount of AR that's past due on every single linked account in a hierarchy for parent-child relationships, or even the job account structure is a big thing that we do around order releases, taking the full picture of exposure across all construction jobs on an account before actually releasing an order, as well as geography, what Ali mentioned, especially important on jobs where the risk might be, a little more favorable in certain states where the lien laws are, more favorable to the company doing business versus the individual buying the product.
Yes, and just the last point to add to what Dominic said, what is also important here is that once you get the ability to self-serve, what you want to do is get a feel for how well these models are performing. So that includes not just quantitative, analysis, meaning, what's a good percentage on the order releases, but also qualitative analysis. Are customers happy? Are the people at the branch happy? Is it solving for all of the different use cases that you have? So that requires you to talk to all of these, people, whether that's internal or external, and then monitoring and improving based on feedback. And that's something that we help our customers with as well, just to get them a sense of, how they can keep improving this, because, there is no concept of one size fits all, and there's no concept of one thing that may stay the same forever. So, we hope to help a lot of other companies with this process. But yeah, I think that sort of concludes our first podcast. As I said, thanks for listening in. We hope that this provided you with some value. Subscribe to us anywhere you can subscribe to us, on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we'll be back with more interesting guests and a more interesting topic.
More interesting guests. Well, and keep a lookout for us. The next appearance of Bectran will be at CRF, the CRF 75th anniversary celebration in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe it's the first week of August, and I'll be doing a panel with NCS and SRS around onboarding automation, liens, and UCC filing. So look out for that, and Ali and I will also be there at that, or Ali will also be there at the conference. No, he's not on the panel. But thank you very much for watching our first podcast here, and wrap it up for your show.
Thank you.